very good evening. The people who are online, in case you're able to see, just drop a comment. Okay, I think we are live now. Okay, so we'll start. So if you have been following the HYT series, the high yielding topic series for prelims 2025. So again, I've already told you that for subjects like polity, current affairs, and environment, we have also already started the series. This is going to be the third lecture of HYT on environment. Okay, those of you who are new, again, you can go back. The very first lecture that we had done was species in news. That was part number 1. And then after that, we have done terms in news. Today, we are doing the very third topic, that is the Indian State of Forest Report. Okay. And of course, after this, we'll keep on continuing the series. You may see some other subjects also going on. But again, overall, the most important things from the current affairs and overall perspective for environment will be covering from high yielding topics. Okay. Is there an issue of sound? Kundan, other people are able, but can you please tell me a sound hai sahi ki nahi? If the sound is all right or not? It is okay? Sound is okay. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. So I think Sri Lakshmi, you can just again cross check. Sound is fine. ठीक है. Okay, great. Now, see, today we are going to see a very important topic, Indian State of Forest Report. Now, how I would be approaching this topic is, see, many of us, when we prepare this topic, we just see some facts. Maximum forest cover, increase, decrease, some things. Okay. So, of course, that is important. Okay. But here in the forest report, in this report, there are some reports also mentioned, some conventions mentioned, some concepts mentioned. So again, through this one lecture, our idea is to cover everything that is mentioned in the report that is relevant from exams perspective. Okay. So in doing so, I will be in fact telling you, see, if you read the acknowledgement of the environment minister, he has mentioned again and again, Born Challenge. He has mentioned there is also a lot of mention of Global Forest Assessment Report, India's NDCs, National Determined Contributions. So we'll be seeing all of that also. And of course, we'll be seeing the important trends that one needs to know. Okay. So with that said, I will start the Indian State of Forest Report 2023. Right. Now this report has come out in 2 volumes. Volume 1, which gives you the overall overview. And then there is of course volume 2, which is more state specific. Now, what you need to know, Indian State of Forest Report, who publishes it? It is published by Forest Survey of India. Forest Survey of India works with Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The fact number 1. This is the report of 2023. This came out in the December 2024. So a question that comes to our mind is, which edition? This is the 18th edition of this report. Okay. So naturally, there was a first edition. This first edition, again, a factual part, it came in the year 1987. And this report is published every 2 years. For 2023, of course, it got delayed. Okay. But remember, it's a biennial report, which is published in every 2 years. Okay. And again, this was launched in FRI Dehradun, right? Now, related to this, we'll see. So whenever you see the Forest Survey of Report, in every edition, there are few things which are unique for that report. Okay. That makes it very unique. So we'll also see what is the unique aspect in this report. Okay. So till now, published by Forest Survey of India under Ministry of Environment. This is the 18th edition of the report, published every 2 years. Okay. In fact, which means the 17th edition was Indian State of Forest Report 2021. So we'll make those, let's say, comparisons as and when that is required. So I hope this part is clear. Now we move to some specific part. Now, in this report, we are going to talk about the forest cover of India. Okay. So that is done through satellite mapping. So the first thing to remember here, how is this satellite data and this forest cover mapped? Okay. So in this, what we are doing, the role of ISRO is very important. And remember, we have indigenous sensors, which is LISS3. So the sensors used by ISRO, you have a particular satellite, which is IRS resource sat. This is the satellite which is being used, okay, for this particular part here. And again, this list to satellite data for the 18th cycle. This data is being procured from National Remote Sensing Center in Hyderabad. Okay. So when you see this term remote sensing, again, the idea here is there you have remote sensing satellites. Remote means they don't have to be present in that area. So again, these satellites through remote sensing GPS are able to map the data, and that is how we have been able to find and map a lot of data, okay, in this report. So main thing is ISRO's LISS sensor, there is resource sat satellite, and main thing this is indigenous. Okay, indigenous means again in India, and National Remote Sensing Center in Hyderabad. Now, when this report starts, there is a lot of the secretaries, okay, a lot of ministers have also given their particular forward. And in the report, there is constant mention of the global forest resource assessment. So first I will tell you globally, how are we compared to forests? And then at the India level, how are we doing? So first fact for you is, who publishes the Global Forest Resource Assessment? This is published by FAO, okay, Food and Agriculture Organization. This of the United Nations, it is publishing. Also one more thing, FAO also publishes something known as a very famous report, State of the World's Forest. So Global Forest Resource Assessment also by FAO. If this is asked in the exam, we may get confused. Okay, and this particular report or assessment has been mentioned more than 10 times in the ISFR 2023. So one should know that. Now, from this, there are only two facts for us to be aware about. Okay, these are the two facts. So first fact we'll see the top 10 countries with respect to the forest area. Which are the top 10 countries? In this, Russia has the maximum percentage of the world forest area. So approximately 20% of the world's forest area is under Russia. So Russia is the biggest. In this, the India is at 10th number. And if you notice in each, the source is mentioned Global Forest Resource Assessment 2020 FAO. Okay. So this is the first thing. Now, second, overall, Russia is the maximum, India is the 10th. Second thing to remember, top 10 countries for average annual, which have the net gain in the forest area. So which are the countries which have had a net gain in forest area? Here, India is at the third number. Both these two are different facts. First fact is telling how much of the forest is in that country compared to the global average. In that part, India is 10th. But how much average per year, how much gain is happening? In that, China is number 1, followed by Australia. Third is India. Okay, again, Global Forest Resource Assessment tells us that India is at the third number. Okay, that the average annual net gain in forest is happening. So that is one thing that you have to remember here. Okay, so till now we have seen the Global Forest Resource Assessment mentioned in ISFR, published by FAO, and overall India is 10th, but in the annual net gain, India is number 3. All right. Now, again, you have certain terms here, certain things that are mentioned. And here, just because this particular table is mentioned, if you see your NCERT also, you may know some of these terms. Okay. So, for example, you have the geographical area. Okay. Out of this, you have forests. Just after this, we will see the percentage of forest and tree cover in India. Okay. Not available. So, again, land not available for cultivation. This is easy to know. Permanent pastures and other grazing land. You have land under miscellaneous trees, etc., groves. But the last 3 terms are important. Okay, or in fact, I should say the last 4 terms: culturable wasteland, okay, fallow land, and other than the current fallow, you have current fallows and net sown area. In fact, if you've read your geography in the NCERT part, these terms are also mentioned. So again, one should be aware about what these terms are. Okay. So first term is culturable wasteland. So again, it is these lands who have gotten wasted, okay, and they are, or the cultivation in this has not happened for 5+ years. Cultivation has not happened here, hence the name is culturable wasteland. But while these are not under cultivation, they can still be restored. Okay, so culturable wasteland. Second, fallow land other than the current fallows. Okay, now this land was cultivated, but since the last 1 to 5 years, it has not been cultivated. So that is the fallow land other than the current fallows. Okay, so not this was cultivated in the past. Okay, but since the last 1 to 5 years, this is not being cultivated. Okay, current fallow, it means in the current agriculture year, this particular land is not cultivated. Land that is not cultivated in the current agricultural year. And the last thing is net sown area. Here I would again say, please just see percentage. So net sown area in India is almost 43%, 42.89. Other thing, of course, this will be a very difficult question in the exam, but culturable wasteland, fallow, current, almost similar, 3.63, 3.32, 4.03. Again, I would say just write these terms, know the definition. I've already told you this is 5 plus, this is 1 to 5, and this current fallow where this is not being cultivated in the current agriculture year. First of all, write the definition, and second, mention the percentage. Okay, so if they really want to test you whether you know how much of India's land use pattern is this will be the most highest level of, let's say, factual information. Okay, and again, all of this we are getting through multiple government reports. So net sown area is 42. So again, net sown area is the total area where the crops are being sown. We'll remember this definition also. This is the net sown area. Okay, because this table is mentioned, of course we should know some of these terms. I hope this part is clear to you. Okay, now we'll come to a very important part. Okay, in fact, most of us, we read the forest report for this particular part. What is the forest cover, what is tree cover, etc, etc. Now before I start explaining this to you, please remember National Forest Policy of 1988 says that India's target for forest cover has to be 1/3, which means 33% is our target. If you remember this, then all these percentage will make sense to you. Okay, our target is 1/3, that is 33%. Now let's see, and this is as per the 18th most recent report. We have forest cover, you have tree cover, you have a term forest and tree cover. Very shortly we'll see what is the meaning of these two terms also. You have scrub area, you have non-forest area. Now here I'll just tell you just a couple of facts so that we know. Now in the 18th report, the very first figure to remember here, or I can draw it like this. See, in the 17th report and in the 18th report, I am first of all talking about forest and tree cover. The forest and tree cover in the 17th report was 24.62%. Okay, so natural question is, has the forest and tree cover increased? This 17th, this is 2021, this is 2023. Here, of course, there is an increase. So first fact to remember here, from 2021 to 2023, there is an increase in forest and tree cover. Okay. So after this, I'll explain to you what these terms are. So again, please remember, total forest and tree cover. This fact you have to now remember is 25.17%. Now compare it to the target. Target was 33%. We are still behind the target. But if the question is, has the forest and tree cover increased? Yes, it has increased. So it has increased from, I'm writing 24.62. This was in the 17th report. It has increased to 25.17. Now individually you see forest and tree cover is there. Many times we say both forest and tree in the same sense, but these are different. And very shortly I'll tell you, in fact in very detail, that what exactly is forest cover in India, what is recorded forest cover, what is tree cover, what is tree outside forest. All these terms we'll see. Now forest cover, right now just see this number. Again, I'm not making you remember it right now, but we will understand conceptually what is the forest cover. Okay, now forest cover right now is 21.76. 21.76 of India's geographical area is the forest cover. Tree cover is 3.41%. Abhi, right now I have not told you the definition, so just wait for 2 minutes. All of these concepts will make sense to you. But right now, you know there is a term, something known as forest cover, and something is known as tree cover. Okay? Okay. There is something known as scrub. I'll show you diagrams for this also. There is something which is non-forest. Okay. So again, it is 73% of this is non-forest. Okay. Now, this whole table can be also visualized in a pie chart. Okay. So let's see the pie chart. This whole is non-forest area. In forest, so of course there is a forest cover 21.76. There is tree cover. These two combined, this was 25.17. And of course, there is something known as scrub. This is how you visualize it. Okay. Now, first question can be, of course, I have told you that forest and tree cover has increased. But your question can be, sir, okay, this combined has increased. But has the forest cover increased in India? First question. Has the tree cover increased in India? The answer to both of them is yes. Both the forest cover and the tree cover has increased as compared to the 17th Indian State of Forest Report. Okay. So factually just we'll see overall there is 1445 square kilometer increase in forest and tree cover. 1445 can be broken down into 156 square kilometer increase has happened in forest and 1289 in tree. This fact is not important. What is important is trend. If you have seen a question in economics, UPSC is more interested to know whether you know the trends, increase, decrease, consistent increase, consistent decrease. So more than cramming 1445, that is not going to be very helpful. But remember that yes, there is a increase going on. Okay. In fact, one thing I'll also tell you that for this particular topic, whatever heads I'm telling you, very short notes you have to make. And your notes would not be more than 2 pages long. And that will cover the entire breadth of the ISFR. Okay. Of course, this report would be covered in far more detail for the forestry optional students when their exam is near. But again, for UPSC, for the prelims, whatever we need to know, I'll be covering it here itself. Okay. Now, I hope this part is clear that forest and tree cover, has it increased? Yes. Has forest cover increased? Yes. Has the tree cover increased? Yes. Till now, this much we know. Now, of course, this is mentioned directly in the report that the forest and tree cover can increase. Of course, the forest and tree cover can also decrease. Directly, they have mentioned what are the reasons for increase and what are the reasons for decrease. I'll just quickly go through this because this also can be made as an MCQ wherein which of the following activities would lead to increase or decrease. Most of the terms we are aware about. Okay. But a couple of terms here and there we should be aware. We'll see. Now, if the forest and tree cover has to have a positive change, it simply means more plantation has to happen, more growth has to happen. So just quickly go. If there is a natural growth of vegetation due to good conservation, positive, yes. Establishment of new vegetation, afforestation, yes, this will also help. Better protection, plantation, yes. Increase in trees growing outside the designated forests. Okay. So let's say this is a whole area. This is a designated forest. Even outside, if you grow, this also will lead to increase, right? Regeneration of areas under shifting cultivation. In this report, many times the mention of shifting cultivation is there. When I say shifting cultivation, your mind should go to, let's say, northeast. You may have heard about slash and burn, or I can say jhoom cultivation. Okay. And in these activities, what happens? There is, let's say, the whole area is being burnt, and this can lead to negative consequence. But later on, regeneration can also happen. If regeneration happens, there will be a positive change. Make sense? Now, negative changes can also happen. Anything which, so again, deforestation, all these things will be negative. But just quickly have a look at harvesting of short rotation. This, in fact, is more important from the exam perspective. That which of the following can lead to negative changes? Short rotation plantations and other forms of logging. Logging, you know, cutting down. Short rotation plantations means they will grow and they have a relatively short time. So you need to cut down more areas. to plant these. This can have problems. Shifting cultivation, we just saw, it is a negative thing, but regeneration after or under is a positive. Human activities like encroachment, I can even add deforestation, I can add pollution, so on and so forth. Natural calamities like storms, floods, landslides, even this can promote to negative consequences. But last point is very important. The titles given to beneficiaries under the Forest Rights Act of 2006. Okay, now why is this? So again, if the title is given to a beneficiary and Forest Rights Act, what this will do? It will give them access to minor forest produce. And those areas, the people who are those legal owners, they will take up their own activities. So now that part, because this is now their own land, this is again not under a recorded part. So this naturally, if a title is given in that particular part to any other tribal or forest community, so naturally that particular part is now not a part of the whole conservation activity. So that part is now removed. Hence, this is also leading to negative changes. Okay, so just be aware about these terms here. Okay. Ashish, see, they have mentioned the term 1/3 of forest cover. Exact term is this. But when we report in the recent reports, we always combine the term forest and tree cover. Even if in books also you may find this forest and tree cover, this policy when this was made earlier, okay, way back. In fact, in the 1952 policy also, a mention of 1/3, 1/3 of forest cover is mentioned. But it is only later, and you'll understand why we have created a distinction between these two. And for this, I will also then quote Kyoto Protocol very shortly. Some of you may get surprised. Kyoto, so we read in greenhouse gases, but I'll also tell you how Kyoto has a bearing on forest. So even if forest and tree cover is mentioned or forest cover is mentioned, you will take that up. Both can mean the same thing in this case. Okay. So overall, India's forest and the overall target is 33%. But later on, of course, we now know the basic differences between the two. So that should not be an issue overall, right? Till now, I think we are clear. This part is also clear. Positive, negative changes. Now, first, I'll just quickly go through what is new in this report, what stands out. Okay, directly, these are 9 points mentioned. Okay, I'll do a quick glance. And after this, we go into the main depth, main concepts, forest cover, tree cover, and all the trends. Now, what is new in the report? Okay, in this, what they have mentioned, okay, that the figures of forest cover, joint cover, individually also, jointly also has been mentioned. Okay, in fact, this was, I think, the main point that you wanted to say, that minimum 1/3 of the land under forest or tree cover. In our case, to ensure this whole part, we have made this change. This is the very first time this is happening. Otherwise, this distinction was not very clear. First part, okay. So forest cover and tree cover individually also and jointly also has been mentioned. Number one. Second, the forest cover data for the very first time has been compiled for 751 districts. Earlier it was lesser districts. This point is not that important, but directly mentioned in the report. Hence I am saying main thing for you to know that coverage is now becoming more broader. So number of districts has increased. By how many? Not very relevant. Okay. Now, here also, forest division has given, or forest division wise forest cover data has been given for the first time. Okay. For certain states, okay, so that they are able to have better working plans. In this, main thing to understand here is, see, in an area, okay, let's say there's a state, there are different divisions in a state. So for certain states who have given this particular data, for that they have done forest division wise forest cover data. So this means even more micro level data has been given for the very first time. Okay. Out of these points, this point is very important. Fourth number point. Let's see this. Earlier, there has to be a separate reporting. Okay. But now, what have they done? Western Ghats has been reported separately. Okay. Western Ghats, there is a separate section on Western Ghats. That what are the changes that have happened in the forest cover in Western Ghats. So just remember that Western Ghats where there is separate information. And again, this is happening for the first time. Okay. So out of these 4 points, most important one was Western Ghats. Let's see some more new things that have happened. Okay. Now, tree cover for 5 to 10 centimeter DBH. DBH means diameter at breast height. Again, let's say this is a forest, this is a trunk, so the diameter that will be happen at breast height. This is one of the best metrics to know about how much the growth will happen in a tree. This is also good for visual level reference. So what has been done? 5 to 10 centimeter DBH trees have been estimated, and this is given for the very first time. पहले क्या होता था? That even this particular range was not being considered. Okay, but this is happening for the very first time, that 5 to 10 centimeter DBH trees have been estimated, and this has been given. Other than that, bamboo cover estimated, and main thing is it is included in tree cover. Okay, because now you have sufficient data available. In fact, when I do the bamboo part, I'll also tell you which state has the most bamboo cover. So we'll also see that this has been estimated and included, right? Growing stock has also been, so again this has been done for the very first time. So abhi there is a section on growing stock, I'll explain to you that, so don't worry. Agroforestry pe bhi there is a complete section. Agroforestry is when you combine forest with agriculture. Okay, and again it's a good sustainable practice. It helps in doubling the farmer's income. There's a separate chapter on agroforestry after 10 years. And last thing is a separate chapter on important characteristics of Indian forest have been included after a decade. Okay, so that is after 10 years. So here, please note what is the main takeaway for us. What is the overall main takeaway? Western Ghats ke liye there's a separate section. Okay, and overall, the bamboo cover, growing stock, agroforestry, that is why when I tell you, so I will not just tell you what is the maximum forest cover, tree cover, that is the factual part, yes, but even these things, because agroforestry, a question ye ho sakta hai ki which is a particular variety that is grown maximum in India. Okay, so in all these terms, all these varieties examples in this class itself, we'll have a look at. Okay, out of these 9, for me, the most important one is this Western Ghats. Okay, other just terms you should know. You should know what is agroforestry. Okay, I will tell you the factual details of agroforestry in the next 15-20 minutes. Okay, I hope till here we know what is new in this. Right. Now, in this discussion, I've used terms like forest cover, tree cover, so it's very natural that you are confused what exactly this is. So now in the next 5 odd minutes or 6 odd minutes, these terms will be very clear to you in your mind. And every detail that can be asked, I have covered exact. These screenshots and snapshots are from the report. So you're doing it exactly how it should be done. Forest cover. Okay, again, see, many times when we see a normal tree, okay, so for example, in your roadside, if you're seeing certain trees, but sometimes you go to a forest area and then there's a huge forest strand. Okay, so when we were young, and generally people think forest and tree are the same thing, but of course these are not. And today we'll also see the way to classify them and conceptually also understand. Okay, so now let's see the term forest cover. While talking of forest cover, I will also mention Kyoto Protocol, because this exact Kyoto Protocol is mentioned in report also. So let's see. Forest cover, in this there are 2 keywords that you should know. Number 1, it is referring to all lands more or equal to, first keyword is 1 hectare. So area wise, if the land is 1 hectare or more than that, this is the first condition. Second, the canopy of a tree. Okay, so for example, if I draw a tree like this particular part is its canopy, right? In the forest, what would you see? So all this is the canopy part. So forest may you see all these, in fact it is again all these trees who are very close together who have this canopy. Okay, so they have to satisfy 2 conditions. The canopy should be more or equal to 10%, 10%, 15, 20, 50, it can be even greater than 70. So there is a separate term for that. So 2 conditions are there to satisfy the use of term forest cover. One is greater than or equal to 1 hectare in area. Second is canopy. Okay, and canopy should be greater than equal to 10%. Then you say it is forest cover. But we do not end here. There are more nuances to it. Irrespective of ownership, ownership private bhi ho sakti hai, it can be private, it can also be government owned. Still it will be a forest cover. irrespective of ownership and irrespective of legal status. It means, see, you have heard about, let's say, Indian Forest Act of 1927. Indian Forest Act of 1927 says that there are recorded forest in India. Okay, sorry, not recorded. It is reserved forest. There are terms like protected forest. Okay, so those forests have got a legal backing. But even if something does not has a legal backing, it means it is not recorded in government books as a forest. Okay, it still can be, but if it satisfies these two conditions, and this is the condition that we have taken. Okay, so this is as per Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So irrespective of ownership or legal status, and it also includes orchards, it can also include bamboo, it can also include palm. ठीक है, यही सेम चीज they are explaining that irrespective of ownership of land, irrespective of the fact that the land is recognized as a forest area or not, if it satisfies these two conditions, you will call it as forest cover. Okay, this is the first basic term they mentioned. If I still go one step beyond that, what can be a part of forest cover, you will find new things. Okay, I'll come back to the Kyoto Protocol. Now please note, again in forest cover, there is no distinction where on the origin. It simply means even if the tree or the forest is natural or if it is man-made, it is going to be a part of India's forest cover. In fact, this is sometimes even criticized. Many people say, and some of the conservationist environmentalists, कि India में जो forest cover increase हो रहा है, it does not mean the natural forests are increasing. It is happening because man-made plantations are increasing. And this tells you India में this percentage includes the plantation as well. So there is no distinction on the origin, which means natural ho ya man-made ho, no difference. Okay. Second thing, this also we have seen all types of land without their ownership, who owns it, not an issue. Land use kaisa hai, not an issue, or legal status, not an issue. So this term is very broad, forest cover. Now in this, you will see, besides capturing natural, this we just saw, it will include the natural forest. It also includes man-made and other plantations. Isme, they have given a huge list. All of that can be a part of forest cover. So I'll just quickly read out that to you. Bamboo, fruit orchards, coconut, oil palm, subabul, eucalyptus. Many states go for eucalyptus plantations. Poplar, acacia, casuarina. Jaise, see, you have eucalyptus. In the coastal areas, just like eucalyptus, you have casuarina plantations. Areca nuts, rubber plantations, okay, even tea and coffee plantations, everything will be covered under forest cover. In this just one piece of information, you can imagine a very good detailed MCQ can be created. That which of the following will be calculated or covered under India's forest cover? If they give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bamboo, fruit, everything is going to be covered. Irrespective of ownership, land use, legal status. That is why I'm emphasizing. Many times we just know this is India's forest cover, but percentage-wise analytical questions, if they come, we'll make a mistake. So this is one part you have to focus on. Okay. Again, same thing. Area may be classified as forest, private, community, government owned. This is not an issue. Main issue is it has to satisfy two conditions. What are those two conditions? In India, first thing is more than 1 hectare, and canopy density, the tree canopy should be more than equal to 10%. Now, I was saying to you a couple of times Kyoto Protocol. Let's see what that is. This is what Kyoto Protocol is saying. Definition of forest as per Kyoto Protocol. Now, we have, and if you have heard about Kyoto Protocol, you have heard it in the context of UNFCCC, Framework Convention on Climate Change, and Kyoto Protocol is related to greenhouse gases, how to control or limit the release of greenhouse gases. Now, in this, there is the definition of forest also mentioned. Now, they have given 3 criteria, and this again is from the report, hence we are just seeing it. Crown cover percentage, minimum tree crown should be in the range of 10 to 30%. What did we choose? 10%. 10% or more crown, so 10, 20, 30, 40, we have taken this up. But they are giving a range of 10 to 30. We have taken 10%. We just saw this. Second, minimum area of the stand. So forested to be seen as a forest cover, forest area, they are saying it can be as less as 0.05 hectare up to 1 hectare. India here has adopted 1 hectare minimum. What is the minimum area? So here there's again a huge band. We have taken this. Okay. So these are the two things that we have taken from this. But Kyoto also gives another, this what is the minimum height of trees. Okay. This again we have not taken. Okay. That minimum height has to be 2 to 5 meters. So this is given by Kyoto, and you also know what India has taken. India has taken two conditions: minimum 1 hectare and tree canopy density 10% or more. I hope by now this part is very clear to all of us, that what is the forest cover meaning. Okay. Now based on this, I can now classify forests: very dense forest, moderately dense, open forest, scrub. अभी देखा तुमने scrub को पहले. And then you have non-forest. Now, very easy. What is very dense? Because now we know something known as canopy density. Okay. तो जिस भी एरिया में the canopy density is greater than 70% or above, this is very dense forest. Of course, इन सारे points पे wherever forest is written, the second automatic condition always is this will be there over 1 hectare or more. Okay, so this has to be there. So very dense में greater than 70%, moderately dense में 40 to 70%, so greater than 40%, and less than 70% canopy density. Okay, and by this you can understand, see, when you say canopy density, it means trees are going to be very close together, okay, in a particular area, over a stretch of area, and very close together. Hence they will have a very strong canopy density, very specific canopy density. So 40% more but less than 70% will be moderately dense forest. And last is this open forest. So this is, you can again say 10 to 40, less than 40% but more than 10%. Why more than 10? Because that is the definition that we have said. It has to be more than 10% to be classified. This is your forest cover. In the forest cover you have very dense, moderately dense, and open forest. Okay. Last, you also have something known as scrub. Scrub mein what is happening? These are the degraded forest lands. Again, the image also that you see here, very degraded. So what is happening? The canopy density here is less than 10%. Now, if you have seen these terms, let us again go back to the fact. We saw this forest cover, we saw tree cover, total forest. Now you see scrub. Scrub is separately mentioned. Scrub is 1.33%. And forest cover that you are seeing is 21.76, which means in the forest cover you can have very dense, moderately dense, and these open forests. Scrub is separate mentioned. Okay. Of course, till now I have not told you tree cover. Tree cover also I will tell you very shortly. But pehle, when you understand these terms now, our concept will become very clear. Okay. And last is non-forest area. So land which is not included in any of this is non-forest area. Okay. Same thing again, that same table. Very dense forest, canopy density greater than 70%. Moderately dense में क्या है? 40 to 70. Open is 10 to 40. We just saw. Scrub is canopy density is less than 10%, and generally a lot of shrubs are interspersed in this region. Okay, and what does not fall in these categories is your non-forest area. It does not fall in the category. All right. So till now, I think we have been able to understand what is the forest cover in all the basic details. Same thing again, if you see, this is very dense vegetation, so very dense forest greater than 70%, moderately dense 40 to 70, open forest 10 to 40, and scrub less than 10%. Again, we are repeating again and again so that it sticks in your mind. Okay, I hope this part is clear. Now you have two terms mentioned in the report again and again: TOF and tree cover. TOF means tree outside forest. Tree outside forest and tree cover. Okay. So here we'll just have a look at what these terms basically mean. Okay, just a second. So here basically, just give me. Acha, I was here in the same slide only. Yes, see, tree outside forest. So I think I'll go to one image here. If you see this image very carefully, let's say this is the forest area. Okay, so you have a particular part that is recorded as forest. Tree will be same. You will have the trees. okay, which are present, but the canopy density will be lesser here. When you define tree cover, we can say the canopy density is going to be lesser, okay, and the trees cover will be overall in this area of less than 1 hectare, okay, because more than 1 hectare and 10% more than canopy density, that is forest. So tree cover will have to be lesser than 1 hectare also, and these areas are going to be having the canopy density of less than 10%. Okay, now let's see this. Both these two terms are separate. TOF is tree outside forest and one is tree cover. Okay, so tree cover are these patches which are less than 1 hectare. This is your tree cover. But TOF is a very broad term. Okay, tree outside forest includes something known as the tree cover. And here there are two simple diagrams to explain this. Very first diagram, you have a forest cover. Now the forest can be recognized by the government. Okay, that is known as RFA, that is the recognized forest area. Okay, this is recognized. So here any patch which is greater than 1 hectare and the canopy density is more, that is again part of forest cover. We know. I already told you based on the legal status also, irrespective of legal status, everything is forest cover. So inside also and even outside, something that is not in the government record. So RFA is this recognized part. Even outside that area, if it is greater than 1 hectare, even that is forest cover. Okay, so forest cover is easy to understand. Inside, outside patches has to be greater than 1 hectare. Okay, and the canopy density has to be more than 10%. You have tree outside forest. In this, there are two terms. In this, you also have a term known as tree cover. This is what we are seeing. So patches which are less than 1 hectare of area. Okay, less than 1 hectare of area, they can be scattered. So different trees are in different area. They can have a linear representation or they can have a block representation. Okay, and for this again this diagram, so linear in one line, they can be scattered in different places. Okay, or they can be in a separate block. All these are overall tree cover. But main thing in tree cover is to notice the patches less than 1 hectare of area. Less than 1 hectare. Okay. Second is even the forest cover which is outside the reserved forest area. Okay. So if there is a particular block which is outside this area, in this the canopy density is less, but even if the block is bigger, that can still be a part of TOF, tree outside forest. So main thing to remember here, there are two terms and these two terms are mentioned many times in the report, TOF and tree cover. Both the terms are separate. Number one, tree cover happens to be a subset of TOF. Okay, so tree cover will be less than 1 hectare, but in TOF you can even have this forest cover outside the region greater than 1 hectare. But here what the issue will be, that why is this tree outside forest? But here the issue will be the issue of canopy density also. Okay, so these are the two terms that you need to know. If you know these two terms, now if I tell you the fact, this will make more sense. Okay, so I just hope this part we are clear on. Okay, because again these things are mentioned in the report, so we're going slightly and we are talking about these two terms here. Okay, now forest cover can again be inside or outside recorded forest area. I just told you this. Okay, and इसी के साथ many times in the report this term is mentioned, GW, that is green wash. It is not green washing. In the previous terms in news we have done green washing, misleading activities. This green wash is different. Okay, तो ये तो अब समझ गए हम लोग. Okay, that recorded, or I use the term recognized, of course you can say recorded forest area. So this is the one that is again mentioned in the government records books. This is recorded forest area. This is also part of forest cover, and even the areas outside the recorded forest, even this is a part of forest cover. This we know. Okay, then there is a mention of this term green wash. Okay, isko samajhna again. See, many times what happens, you have a boundary. Okay, so let's say this is the recorded forest. The state has clearly demarcated boundaries, then it is fine. But in many cases, because you have to make maps, you have to have vegetations. So when you see this report, you will see many maps, green dots. Okay, so sometimes the boundaries have to be created. So for that, the term that is used is green wash. So again, many times when the boundaries of these areas are not available, the FSI uses green wash. So these are represented in green, okay, in these topographic sheets, and these are a proxy for RFA. So instead of RFA, so if the question is the green wash same as RFA? No. RFA means you have legally notified area. This is simply an approximation. Okay, this is a map based approximation. The name is green wash, and of course we know green wash is not green washing. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Okay, so recorded forest area, again I've told you again, reserved forest, protected forest, all of this, Indian Forest Act, all of this is covered. So keep, of course we've seen that. अब आते हैं facts पे. Okay, in the facts again there is a way to remember them. Okay, there is a, if you do them, see there are a lot of facts here. One by one I'll talk to you about. Now let me just go back. अब देखो, forest cover, you know, if you prepare it in this manner, this will give you the highest ROI. Forest cover, okay, forest cover area wise and percentage wise. Same, we have seen tree cover. Tree cover can also be done area wise and also percentage wise. And then forest and tree cover combined, we can also have forest and tree cover combined. This also area wise, which is the maximum, and which is percentage wise. And the fourth thing to know here, maximum increase and maximum decrease. Okay, the maximum increase in forest and tree cover in which states, maximum decrease in which states. This is how we have to process the information. Okay, so again, when you say forest cover, area wise, if you say, again these are some of the static parts. You know, Madhya Pradesh area wise has the highest forest cover. Okay, but percentage wise, if we go, we know many states in the northeast, in their size they have very high forest cover. In fact, by the end of this lecture I'll also tell you some facts. There are some states where the forest cover is greater than 75% also. You know the target for India 33%. Okay, अब देखो, if we understand this, अब ये थोड़े से factual parts हैं. Okay, for this you keep on just writing in the way I have written it here. This is a very easy way to remember. Okay, that what you have to know, and this is again as per the recent report. So area wise, if we do forest cover, maximum Madhya Pradesh, followed by Arunachal, followed by Chhattisgarh. Okay, so Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal, Chhattisgarh, but this is area wise. Percentage wise, if I go, you see Lakshadweep, you see Mizoram and Andaman and Nicobar. This is forest cover. Forest cover, there are two things, greater than 1 hectare and the canopy density greater than 10%. So tree cover less than 1 hectare. Okay, area wise tree cover maximum is Maharashtra. इसको आप ऐसे भी सोच सकते हो. See, in many places where there is less development, you will have more forests. Okay, जैसे छत्तीसगढ़ में again a lot of tribal groups are there, but in areas where there are a lot of development, see in Maharashtra a lot of development has happened, so a lot of forests have been cut. Okay, but a lot of trees in different areas will grow. Okay, so maybe in around malls, around different localities, etc. So Maharashtra is leading area wise, followed by Rajasthan, followed by UP, Uttar Pradesh. This is the tree cover area wise. Percentage wise, you have Chandigarh, you have Delhi, and you have Kerala. Okay, so this is happening, forest cover and tree cover. And in the exam, you have to be very careful what are they asking you. Okay, I know there are some areas wherein it is slightly factual for you that yes, I have to even remember this. But again, if you get a question on these grounds, and again, a lot of the students, I had also taken this session for 2021 ISFR. Okay, so even in your state exams, whatever exams do you, if you just follow this whole one lecture throughout, concept based question you'll also be able to do, fact and concepts both you'll be able to do if you follow along. Okay, forest cover, tree cover, area wise, percentage wise, this is clear to us. Fine. Now we go to forest and tree cover. Abhi bhi what I am saying, maximum forest and tree cover combining, area wise kahan pe sabse zyada hai, percentage kahan pe sabse zyada hai. उसके बाद I will go to कि maximum increase has been seen in this report where, and where has been the maximum decrease. Okay, area wise भी still MP maximum, Arunachal maximum, and now you have Maharashtra. अब let's compare it to the previous part. Area wise MP Arunachal both same है, पर यहाँ पे छत्तीसगढ़ was there maximum forest, but now Chhattisgarh is not there, it is Maharashtra. Okay, because again Maharashtra would have substantial tree cover also. So forest and tree cover combined में these two remain same from the forest, only this has changed. Here you have Maharashtra. ठीक है, so just keep this in mind. Percentage wise again if you go, and percentage wise if we again write it, so you have Lakshadweep, you have Mizoram, and you have Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, इसमें अब आपको टेंशन यू नहीं लेनी है, यू डोंट हैव टू, बिकॉज दिस इज फॉलोइंग द सेम ट्रेंड. Lakshadweep, Mizoram, Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Mizoram, Andaman and Nicobar. Okay, but here the change happened. Maharashtra is there in forest and tree cover, whereas in forest cover it is Chhattisgarh. So on these parts you have to be just slightly aware. Other than that, I don't think it should be a big problem for you. ठीक है, till here are you able to follow? अब आते हैं लास्ट में मैक्सिमम इंक्रीज इन फॉरेस्ट एंड ट्री कवर. तो मैक्सिमम इंक्रीज कहां देखा गया है? Only the three ones we'll see. So you have Chhattisgarh, maximum increase has been seen. You have UP and you have Odisha. This is where the maximum increase has happened. Okay, whereas maximum decrease, this has happened in Madhya Pradesh, so Madhya Pradesh, you have Karnataka, and you have Ladakh. This is where the maximum decrease in forest and tree cover has happened. So this is 4 layer of information. One is maximum increase, maximum decrease, overall area wise, percentage wise, overall maximum क्या है? Forest and tree, forest cover, area wise, percentage wise, tree cover, area wise, percentage wise. Directly if you have crammed it, it will be difficult. Now you know exactly what these terms are. Forest cover में क्या क्या हो सकता है, every definition, everything related to it, the significance of Kyoto Protocol related to it. Now you know. Okay, so again, Chhattisgarh, UP, Odisha, maximum increase has happened here, forest and tree cover, and maximum decrease has happened in Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, and Ladakh. ठीक है? So till here, I think we are all following. So this was one of the main things that generally we prepare. Okay, and generally we stop it at this. But again, I've told you, mangroves, agroforestry, हर एक के trends हैं. Even the forest fires also. So everything will be done, but this is the main part that takes time. Okay, now you will be only left with some of the factual details. Okay, okay, 1 second. All right, I think this part we've seen. This Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Ladakh, Chhattisgarh, ठीक है, ये वाला part है. अब last में just see the last line. This is very important here, and in fact the last 2 lines. Okay, in terms of percentage of forest cover, Lakshadweep, for example, we have already seen this, but I'm just wanting to say, see the percentage. 91% it has the forest cover. Mizoram 85%, Andaman 81. Okay, so here please just have a look at 19 states or UTs of India have more than 33% of geographical area under forest cover. 19 states of India as per the recent report, and out of these 8 states have the forest cover over 75%. Which are those 8 states? You have Mizoram and states and UTs: Mizoram, Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar, Arunachal, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Manipur. So you see a lot of dominance of northeastern states here. Okay, 8 states have more than 75%. That is why these percentages also in the only this last part you have to have a look at. That's it. Okay, so this is just one thing for you to keep in mind. All right, so you have 19 states, more than 33%. Okay, so if again you get a question related to this part, that there are some states in India having more than 75%, even that is true. Okay, so these are some of the facts. Okay, then one more thing is mentioned related to cities, mega cities. forest cover in major mega cities. And they have mentioned in the report only that UN's criteria of what is the urban agglomeration in this. A mega city is something which has a population of 10 million or more. According to that, we have Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Mumbai as these mega cities. You're talking of the forest report. Remember, Hyderabad in 2020, okay, was given the title Tree City of the World. This UPSC is already asked once. And who gave this title? FAO. Again, we've seen FAO, Global Forest Resource Assessment, State of the World, Trees, and Arbor Day Foundation. Now the report is saying forest cover in major mega cities. Okay, so here just remember, Delhi has the largest forest cover. Delhi has the largest forest cover. ठीक है, ये आप ऐसे भी कर सकते थे. If you overall look, we also saw overall this cover, Delhi leading in this front. In the mega cities, okay, it is the Delhi which has the largest forest cover, followed by Mumbai, Bangalore. So just keep this in mind. Okay, maximum Delhi है. दूसरी चीज, you will also see this term maximum gain, maximum increase, which means this particular area. For example, Ahmedabad has seen a lot of new conservation or plantation activities. Okay, so maximum gain has happened in Ahmedabad, but maximum cover is in Delhi. Okay, so this is one thing to keep in mind. All right, now Western Ghats. Now in some of my slides there will be this trend. The moment you see this trend, it means something is falling down. Mostly in the Indian Forest Report, everything is increasing. Okay, but there are some trends which are showing a downward trend. Those things also we'll have a note. We have seen that this Western Ghat assessment has been done for the first time overall, specific assessment. Okay, and in this case, they have mentioned this whole part that when this was designated as eco-sensitive area, WGESA is the Western Ghats eco-sensitive area. Okay, when I say eco-sensitive area, please also remember Gadgil Committee, Kasturi Rangan Committee. Okay, related to eco-sensitive zones. Eco-sensitive zones are also declared under Environment Protection Act 1986. Now coming back, only thing to remember here, in the last 10 years, okay, there has been an overall loss in Western Ghats. Western Ghats, in your biodiversity, you know it is a biodiversity hotspot. Okay, so main thing to know, it has been assessed. What is the main takeaway? In the last 10 years, there has been a decrease. That's all. Okay, that is all you need to know. Other fact that how many states, this also UPSC is asked. Okay, you can also, how many states are under Western Ghats? Okay, 6 states. So this is one thing. Okay, again, Environment Protection Act, just remember, overall, just remember this, there is a decreasing trend. That's all for Western Ghats. Okay, next, there is also the mention of forest cover in the northeast states. अब देखो, यहाँ पे, when we see the report, there is a decrease of forest cover in northeast states. Decrease. So here also, I will mention something like this. Okay. Here, please note, this is in the last 10 years. Okay. In many cases, when the decrease or increase is mentioned, that is just the previous report. If the changes in the last 10 years, this is known as decadal change. In the 10 years, what is happening? So in the 10 years, the Western Ghats has lost forests, forest cover. In the northeast states, there is a decrease in the forest cover. Okay. But you also know, so again, Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura. So here there is a lot of particular, let's say, the forest cover that is found in the region. That is one thing you have to know. And second thing, overall you have to remember that there is a decrease in the forest cover. Second, in the report only you see, in this region is known for shifting or jhum cultivation. Okay. This is again the shifting jhum cultivation that leads to a negative impact. Okay. So that leads to a decline. So again, remember what is jhum shifting cultivation prominent in the region. And overall, see, there are two things. This region has a lot of forest cover. True. But this region has also seen a decrease in the forest cover. Okay. In fact, we just saw many of these states combined will have greater than 75% forest cover. But it has reduced in a comparative sense. So don't get confused in this case. Okay. So northeast maybe there's a decline. Okay. Now, in mangroves, again note what is mentioned here, decline as compared to last. Okay. Decline जो लिखा है मैं I'm just writing it here. From 4999 we have now 4992. Okay, so overall there is a decline. Mangroves cover 0.15% of India's geographical area. 0.15%. So whatever is mentioned in the report related to mangroves will quickly summarize in 2-3 minutes. अब देखो, mangroves are salt tolerant plants, halophytes. 0.15% of India's geographical area is covered by mangroves. With mangroves, you also remember Sundarbans. The world's largest, let's say, concentration of mangroves are found in Sundarbans, a coastline in Sundarbans. There are pneumatophores. ये भी रिपोर्ट में ही दिया है, आपने सुना होगा pneumatophores, vivipary. Pneumatophores are aerial breathing roots. Okay. Sundarbans के बारे में भी I'll quickly have a look at. Second, this report also highlights there are good practices for mangrove restoration like fish bone plantation. The bone of the fish is something like this. So what will happen if you do this kind of plantation? The water will get distributed and this will prevent excessive water logging in the mangroves. So even this can be done if you get a statement that which can be used in restoration of mangroves. We can also say fish bone structure, fish bone plantations, raised bed plantations. Mishti scheme, okay, we have done in the crash course also, again in open sessions, etc. Mishti scheme again is mentioned. Mishti scheme is related to mangrove initiative for shoreline habitat and tangible incomes. Again mentioned again in the report here. Okay. अब इसमें just quickly what all things you have to remember वो देखते हैं. State UT wise mangrove cover assessment. Okay. अब इसमें what you have to know, overall if you see maximum, okay, the total mangrove cover, if I say maximum mangrove cover is there with respect to West Bengal. Okay. 2119, okay, that is the maximum here. If you go, second highest will be Gujarat. Okay. Now in the mangrove part here also, 1 second. अब इसमें भी same चीज है. What is the change that has happened? So again, two things are there. Maximum mangroves are found in West Bengal, followed by Gujarat. Maximum, if you are saying, okay. And third, if you want to know, is Andaman and Nicobar. This is the maximum. But change, if I say, what change has happened? If there is minus, that means decline has happened. If there is positive, increase has happened. So first I am writing minus where reduction has happened, plus is where increase has happened. Minus maximum decrease has happened in Gujarat. Okay, so this is maximum. Only remember this. The maximum decrease in a state that has happened is Gujarat. But if I say maximum increase, that is Andhra, followed by Maharashtra. Andhra, Maharashtra. Okay. In fact, 4992 is what I told you is in 2023, and minus 7, if you add 7, that is 4999. Okay. So that is the overall maximum mangroves. So again recapping, maximum mangroves are in West Bengal, followed by Gujarat, followed by Andaman and Nicobar. Maximum decrease Gujarat, maximum increase Andhra and MH Maharashtra. Whenever they say maximum increase, don't be tempted to think of West Bengal. Overall, West Bengal has a lot, okay, but maximum increase has not happened. Only very limited 1.41 increase has happened here in mangroves. Okay. Now, India harbors two globally threatened mangrove species. One is Erythriaformes and one is Sonartia griffithini. Now most of you know what is Erythriaformes, but आपने ये नाम नहीं सुना होगा. Okay, so again report tells this Erythriaformes. In the next page in report there's a beautiful image. This beautiful image is your Sundari mangrove tree. We know Sundarbans is named from this, and Sundari mangrove tree is nothing but Erythriaformes. Okay, so Sundarbans is named for the Sundari mangrove tree, and it is these are, so India mein you have two globally threatened mangrove species. One is Erythriaformes which is your Sundari tree. Other is Sonartia griffithini. My homework to you is, why was Sonartia alba in news related to mangroves? There is a connection. Okay, you can mention that in the comment section. Okay. Second thing, India stands as the world's third richest nation in terms of mangroves diversity. So mangrove diversity maximum kahan hai? So India does not lead it. Many times we get confused because we think of West Bengal and we think of Sundarbans. See, Sundarbans mein overall you will have the maximum concentration of mangroves in one place. But diversity, that means more number of species. In this, India is at the third level. Okay, so keep this in mind. Okay, this is also something we have seen. Again, there's a global status of mangroves. हमें ये assessment कौन दे रहा है? Again, the Forest Resource Assessment of FAO. Okay, so here this is there. Again, if you want to have a look at, you can have a look at, but lesser chances of this being asked because global, they will ask you more on the forest front. On that, we've already seen two facts. Okay, so here Africa and main Asia has again substantial variety. In fact, maximum is found in Asia. Okay, the global status of mangroves. ठीक है, अब आते हैं फॉरेस्ट फायर्स पे. अगेन लास्ट 2 or 3 sections are left. First thing is this: in forest fire also you see the decline. Okay, fire hotspots पहले थे 2,23,000 something. Forget the fact, there is a decline now, 2,03,000 something. First thing is there is a decline, number one. Now top states, maximum forest fire incidents are happening in Uttarakhand, followed by Odisha, followed by Chhattisgarh. ठीक, this is what is mentioned in these first two facts. पहली चीज क्या याद रखनी है? डिक्रीज हुआ है. सेकंड थिंग, मैक्सिमम कहां है? उत्तराखंड, ओडिशा, छत्तीसगढ़. नाउ again, forest fires in tiger reserves also is mentioned. Now when you read tiger reserves, you know Nagarjun Sagar Sri Asylum tiger reserve is the biggest tiger reserve area wise, and it is this tiger reserve which has seen the maximum number of forest fires. Okay, maximum number of this has been seen in Nagarjun Sagar Sri Asylum tiger reserve. This has already been asked as a PYQ overall, but you also can link it to this part here. Only remember this, no need to remember the sequence. Okay, this report is filled with so many facts. I'm trying to distill out the most important ones. सिर्फ एक याद रखेंगे, top. Now here also only the term that is mentioned you need to know: Forest Fire Alert System at FSI, Forest Survey of India. It is related to this particular forest fire control. Number one fact. Okay, in this again IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, IITM are helping it. Okay, country level burnt area mapping is a new achievement. So again at a country level, in all these areas which are impacted by forest fires, it is going to look at. Okay, so this is done. Then again forest fires, अब क्या हो रहा है? Like we saw, the areas impacted by forest fires, now every year they are increasing the number of protected areas. So here also forest fires, what the forest fires in 705 protected areas has been done for the very first time. Okay, burnt area assessment has been done for the first time at national level. Okay, so main thing to remember here is we are increasing our scope. Technologically we are becoming better and more superior. Hence I told you ISRO's LISS 3 indigenous sensors and resource sat. Keep that in mind. Okay, yes Kundan, very good. That is Sonartia alba. Okay, the white chippy mangroves, that is why. अब ये भी, this is only just one. There is a One Agni geo portal. What is One Agni? Forest fire. The portal be related किससे है? FSI, Forest Survey of India. So this can also be asked that what is One Agni geo portal? Okay, so this is your centralized hub for forest fires across India. Now IFSR has done very good thing here on forest fires. They have classified the different areas which are impacted by forest fires, and they've also given reasons for the same. Okay, that makes our job easy. So there are multiple reasons for occurrence of human induced forest fires. 4 reasons दिए हैं. ठीक, we'll have a look at. Forest fires in western Himalayan region, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal. क्यों हो रहे हैं? Because these areas have pine forests. Pine, okay, like cheer pine. And by transhumance pastoralist. Now, both these two terms are also there in your geography and CRT. Can anybody in the comment section tell me any transhumance pastoralist group of Himachal or any of these areas? Number one. Second, prepare examples of pine forests. One example, for example, I've already told you is cheer pine. So whatever term is mentioned, transhumance, you should know. Next, okay. No, I said ISRO. Yes, ISRO's satellite was being used in the very initial part for this whole monitoring. Second, fires in the western part of the country is on because of dry vegetation, okay, and extensive grassland habitats. This we can understand. Dry vegetation, again, if the temperature is increasing, more prone to forest fire. Next, fires in central Indian states, western parts, eastern Ghats, on account of large scale collection of non-timber forest products, NTFPs. ठीक है? अब अगर हम NTFPs की बात कर रहे हैं, okay, the non-timber forest products. Here they have just mentioned two specific things, okay. So collection of tendu leaves. This is also something that you can overall mention here, that the collection of tendu leaves, number one, okay. And the second fact to remember in this case is mahua flowers. These both are mentioned in the report. Collection of these often sometimes leads to forest fires. So tendu leaves, okay, and mahua flowers, mahua flowers and tendu leaves. Lastly, widespread forest fires in Northeast India. Why in Northeast India? Because of shifting cultivation, झूम cultivation. So this is also something to keep in mind. ठीक है, shifting और झूम cultivation. तो इसमें से चारों जो है अलग अलग concepts we have seen. Okay, very good. Some of you are saying Bugyal, very good, Ashwin. Okay, even yes, the Maldari tribes, etc. So just so transhumans, pine forests, rare vegetations, and we also see NTFPs which are doing this whole part. So we have to know this exactly mentioned in the report. अब एक और टर्म है रिपोर्ट में, कार्बन स्टॉक. Okay, you know you have forests. Forests are your carbon sink. Okay, in this context, please remember two keywords here. Okay, what happens? See, Forest Survey of India is estimating the carbon stock of forests. Okay, and also the trees outside forest, and this is sent to United Nations UNFCCC, because you have to talk about your greenhouse gas inventory. So in this case there is something, please इसको याद रखो, biennial update report, okay, which we send, okay, biennial update report, and there is something known as NatCom. So how do we update whatever our findings are? So there is NatCom, is national communication, okay, and then there is a biennial update report through which we update our greenhouse gases, okay, that how much forest are, how much forest stock is there. अब carbon stock में main thing to remember here is certain terms, जैसे you have trees, अब this is ground, you have above ground biomass, this is below ground biomass. There is terms like soil carbon, there is dead wood, litter, okay. These are certain terms. Above ground, of course, you can understand anything which is above. So again, all this stems, stump, branches, barks. Below ground में क्या हो जाएगा? इनके roots हो जाएंगे. Okay. So these are also terms that are used when we talk about carbon stock. Okay. Now, in this case, just see the fact here. Okay. And after this, I'll again tell you a couple of things. So carbon stock में trend is carbon stock is increasing. Okay. First thing. Second thing. If you talk about this, okay, so this is being estimated, and in all these terms that you saw, abhi jo terms dekhe aapne, soil organic carbon, dead wood, litter, above ground, below ground, soil organic carbon is the largest pool of forest carbon accounting. Maximum is this. Again, if this is again arranged in terms of how much carbon can it store, this will be a difficult question in the exam hall. So soil organic carbon is the largest pool of forest carbon accounting, 55%. Followed by above ground biomass, below ground biomass, litter, etc. Dead wood. सबसे important है soil organic carbon, which is why UNCCD, many of you have read about land degradation neutrality, वो देखते हैं how much soil organic carbon is present or remaining. So soil organic carbon is the largest pool of forest carbon accounting. One thing to know. Now, अरुणाचल प्रदेश हैज द मैक्सिमम कार्बन स्टॉक, ठीक है, एक चीज याद रखेंगे, बट इफ आई गो पर हेक्टेयर वाइज, दिस इज द ओवरऑल टोटल नंबर, पर हेक्टेयर कार्बन स्टॉक मैक्सिमम किसमें है, दैट इज जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. Okay, maximum is Jammu and Kashmir, followed by Sikkim, Himachal, Andaman and Nicobar. In these kind of reports, only remember the most maximum. If I were again writing here carbon stock mein, so one thing I'll write soil organic carbon maximum, followed by Arunachal total. This is the maximum carbon stock, but per hectare carbon stock that is maximum, that is there in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, this is one thing to keep in mind. Now, talking of carbon stock, I'm again telling you, this is related to your NDCs, nationally determined contributions. Okay, अब यहाँ पे there is again NATCOM, अभी हमने देखा, we saw BUR, biennial update report. Second thing to also know here, there is also a term that is used in UNFCCC, LUCF, land use change and forestry. Okay, so these, the party to these UN conventions have to give greenhouse gas inventory from all the sectors, including land use change and forestry, LUCF. Okay, और इंडिया ने लगातार अपनी रिपोर्ट्स भेजी हैं. You don't have to remember, but ये देखो, India is given, okay, so greenhouse gas inventory, okay, biennial update, BUR first, second, third. If they say biennial update report is related to which context, you would know, related to greenhouse gas. Okay, so yeah, greenhouse gas inventory and overall this part. Second thing, when I'm saying carbon stock, if you remember, India's INDCs in the Paris Agreement, we say we want to create additional means more, 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon sink. Extra banani hai hame, 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon sink. Okay, how will we do that? More forest and tree cover. Okay, so this is also related to this part. Now, last thing to remember in this fact is this. How are we doing? Okay, India has already 30 billion tons of carbon dioxide stock. Our target was additional 2.5 to 3 billion tons. During 2015, India had submitted 3 NDCs. See? India has already achieved 2 out of them. The only one remaining is this one, and even this one is very close. By 2.5 आपको करना था to 3 billion tons. How much have you done right now? You have already done 2.29 billion tons. So even this is going to be very close. Okay. Again, in this report, mention of NDCs, Paris Climate Deal, mention of Bonn Challenge is there. Bonn Challenge, remember, IUCN plus the government of Germany. India's target is to restore 26 million hectares by 2030. So again, I have told you this report has a lot of other prominent initiatives, conventions related to forests. Bonn Challenge में क्या करना है? Degradation of forest land को restore करना है. How would you restore it? By planting more trees. Okay. So IUCN and the government of Germany, and then 26 million hectares is India's target. The global target is 350 million hectares by 2030. Please keep this in mind. And remember this, because we are very close. Maybe by the next report, we would have already achieved this target. Okay? We had submitted something known as the Panchamrit. In the report, this is again mentioned as Amrit Tattva. Okay? In yesterday's class also, I had referred to India's 5 updated pledges of Panchamrit. Okay, so again, a reference to that is made. We've already had a look at. Remember in previous class, I told you carbon intensity. Okay, so please remember that. ठीक है, तो carbon stock ये हो गया. Then again, there is something known as growing stock. Okay, growing stock is simple one line. Total volume of wood. How much wood is there? You know through growing stock. Okay. So if you want to know how well the forest is doing, you will just see its growing stock. The growing stock, it simply means it will help us in understanding or knowing the total volume of wood. One line. Okay. In this, one or two things you need to know. First fact is National Forest Inventory. Okay. This again is related to Forest Survey of India. Now, while doing the growing stock, I'll know the species, I'll know their composition, I'll know the diameter, everything. So overall, if I know the growing stock, I will very well be able to know how well the area will be doing economically also, socially also. Okay, so again, this is one important part. So first, remember what is growing stock. Okay, फिर क्या है? Fact है कुछ. Okay. Again, remember Arunachal Pradesh has maximum growing stock. We just saw Arunachal Pradesh also having the maximum carbon stock. Arunachal Pradesh also has the maximum growing stock. Okay. Okay, right? And this is there in forests. In trees outside forest, it is Maharashtra which has the maximum growing stock. You also saw Maharashtra having great number of tree cover, maximum tree cover. So tree outside forests mein Maharashtra is the maximum growing stock. Keep this in mind. Okay. Now, if this is overall total, but if I do this per hectare wise, then it is Himachal that is leading. Okay. So amongst the state per hectare, maximum growing stock is in Himachal Pradesh. And if you do the UTs, Union Territories, the highest overall this is in Jammu and Kashmir, followed by then Arunachal, sorry, Andaman and Nicobar and Chandigarh. ठीक है? अब इसमें I know growing stock पे direct question being asked is difficult. They may ask you definition on this. So these will be your last level of facts. First level of facts has to be the forest cover, tree cover, increase of forest and tree cover, forest fires, mangroves. सबसे लास्ट में इसको करेंगे ग्रोइंग स्टॉक को अगर वो पूछ भी रहे हैं बिकॉज okay, so that is one. Now, because in the recent years they have even asked you some scientific names of forest. Okay, in fact, if you see your papers, Tectona grandis पूछ चुके हैं. Torre robusta की which of the following is evergreen or deciduous? Only thing you have to remember, in the forests, inside the forest, सबसे ज्यादा contribution किसका है? Okay, so sal, SAL, sal is Shorea robusta. You know teak, teak is Tectona grandis. तो फॉरेस्ट में मैक्सिमम कंट्रीब्यूशन है शोरिया रोबस्टा का. इन्हीं दो नाम को याद रखो. ठीक है. पाइनस रॉक्सबर्गी इज नथिंग बट पाइन, जो भी हमने देखा था. ओके, बट ओनली इफ यू ओनली रिमेंबर द टॉप वन, इवन दैट इज फाइन. ओके, और TOF, ट्रीज आउटसाइड फॉरेस्ट में मैग्निफेरा इंडिका, दैट इज मैंगो. ओके, अभी एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री में वील अगेन सी मैंगो का कंट्रीब्यूशन सबसे ज्यादा है. ठीक है. तो इनसाइड फॉरेस्ट इट इज साल, and then teak. Again, these are used extensively in the furnitures, etc. Whereas outside में है mango. Okay, that is Magnifera indica. Then you have Azadi Rakta indica. भूल जाओ इसको. This is a name only. The most important one. They've also mentioned Madhuka indica. This is again Mahua. हमें क्या याद रखना है? मेन चीज साल, Shorea robusta. Second is mango. Okay. Why I'm also emphasizing, because in the last 2 years they have asked you scientific names also, bracket में करके पूछा है, पर अगर common name भी याद है, that is good enough. Okay, then we come to bamboo. Only one slide on bamboo, and then the last main part, this bamboo में क्या देखेंगे? Bamboo में increase has happened. Okay, we have already seen increase हो रहा है, decrease हो रहा है. How much? Not to remember. Overall, has the bamboo seen an increase? So yes, there is an increase in bamboo bearing. Okay, as compared to the previous report. Now, Madhya Pradesh has the maximum bamboo bearing area. सबसे ज्यादा किसका है? That is Madhya Pradesh. Okay, that is number one fact that you need to know. Okay, then high. So one is maximum, but maximum increase, where has it happened? Maximum increase has happened in Arunachal. So Madhya Pradesh maximum increase in Arunachal Pradesh. This is with respect to bamboo. Okay. This is again what this whole report says. So again, I'm not going to talk about this. The maximum, so maximum है 2027 Madhya Pradesh में. Okay, and then अच्छा, change in area. So of course, maximum is here. Okay, this is Arunachal Pradesh. That is 2685. That is the change, but maximum area, if you see here, 20,000 or so something. This is Madhya Pradesh. This is maximum, and this is followed by 18,000 by Arunachal. This is again the same fact that we saw. Madhya Pradesh maximum increase, Arunachal Pradesh for bamboo. In agroforestry, okay, this is agriculture plus forestry, and this has been done after a decade. Pehli cheez, you need to know what is agroforestry. Okay, this helps in doubling the farmer's income. Okay, now isme kya hai? Has this increase, decrease? What has it? What is this happening? There is an increase. In the last part, in bamboo, they have mentioned in the ISFR 2021. But in agroforestry, they've mentioned 2013. Q. This has now been published after 10 years. Okay. So overall, in these 10 years, there is an increase. First fact. Second, states की अगर बात करें, if we talk about states, maximum is Maharashtra. UT में Jammu and Kashmir, and you are seeing a trend. Mostly, if there is a UT, Jammu and Kashmir is dominating. Okay, whereas in many states we have seen Maharashtra to be amongst the leaders. So when you write all the facts, when you revise it a couple of times, you will see trends. कुछ patterns दिखेंगे, that will make our job easy. And overall, maximum amongst जो भी हो रहा है, that is this mango. Extensively cultivated is Mangifera indica, that is mango, hence this image. Okay, so agroforestry में only three things. One, increase has happened in the last 10 years. Second, in states Maharashtra, in UT it is Jammu and Kashmir, whereas it is mango. Okay, the maximum. अब 10 साल में क्या changes हुए हैं? This report also tell you, because earlier we were doing only the changes in the last 2 years. In 10 years, mostly everything has increased. Okay, but what has decreased, I'm writing a minus, is what we just saw. Okay, in the 10 years, again अभी उसको आगे लिख लेंगे यहाँ पे. In fact, I can write it here itself. That is, Western Ghats has seen a decrease in the 10 years, but everything else has mostly increased. Okay. Now, decadal changes में forest cover increase हुआ है, कितना हुआ है? Forget it. Okay. Other than that, mangrove cover has increased in 10 years. When you write mangrove, put a star mark. Why? Because in the last 2 years, it has decreased. Okay. So you know from 4999, it has gone to 4992. इतना भी याद नहीं है, बस याद रखो 2 साल में कम है. In the 2 years it has decreased, but in the 10 years it has increased. Okay, tree cover increase, tree green cover etc. in agroforestry increase, growing stock increase, tree outside forest increase. Decrease क्या है? In Western Ghats. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, other than that, I think this mangrove cover, bamboo bearing carbon stock हम देख चुके हैं. Okay, mangrove cover has decreased, bamboo increased. Carbon stock, इसमें only thing to remember here in carbon stock is we have reached 2.29 billion tons of carbon sink. This is very close to our target. Okay, of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of additional carbon sink. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, and in the very introduction of the report, it said India has made a lot of international commitments to conventions. And in the report, there's a mention of these 10 conventions or initiatives. Okay, so this will be the last part I'll just tell you related to this report. So जो भी चीज देती, हर चीज I've tried to mention it here, so that will make your job easy. Start करते हैं. India's commitment. So there is a mention of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. In this, it talks about reduction of greenhouse gases. Okay. There is again a talk of LUCF. अभी देखा हमने land use change and forestry. Okay. We also know BUR, this report, biennial update report. With reference to Kyoto Protocol, of course, it is related to greenhouse gas. But for Kyoto Protocol, also remember, how is it related to forest part? That we also saw. Paris Agreement, may remember India's NDCs, nationally determined contributions. We have achieved 2 out of 3. And third one, related to carbon sink, we are very close to achieve it. Very close. Okay, हमने 2.29 achieve कर लिया है. Total carbon stock, that is around 30 billion tons. We have created additional carbon stock of 2.9. Okay. With respect to sustainable development goals, again, India has Niti Aayog, which monitors this at India level. You know, total 17 SDGs, right? Then you have UNCCD. Okay. UNCCD, India is signatory to CCD. Okay. So remember that this also is related to this part here. CBD bhi hai. Ab CBD talks about something known as 30 by 30 target. Saving 30% of land and sea by 2030, which also includes forest. Okay. So this is there. इस पूरी की पूरी लिस्ट में 2 चीजें हैं जो आपने शायद नहीं सुनी हो अच्छे से. One is this and one is this. But all these 10 are mentioned. So one is New York Declaration on Forest. This is a UPSC PYQ. Okay. इसको स्टार मार्क या इसको अलग से लिखो. 2 things to remember here. This is voluntary, or I should say it is non-legally binding. It is not legally binding. Number 1. And second, New York Declaration on Forests. India is not a signatory to this. India is not a signatory to New York Declaration on Forest. Bond challenge, abhi dekha humne, but in this report many times the word bond challenge is mentioned. Okay, so bond challenge is by IUCN and the government of Germany. Second, bond challenge में India का target is to restore India's target is restore 26 million hectares by 2030. Million hectares India का target है. Global target is 350 million hectares to be restored by 2030. Ramsar Convention, again related to the wise use, sustainable use of wetlands. Okay, again the mangrove related part, all of that can be considered, or because conservation of mangroves etc. is also being done. This is also mentioned here. We have already known what is Ramsar Convention. And last thing is Asia Pacific Forestry Commission. Here, please remember, India is a member. India is a member of AP, this Asia Pacific Forestry Commission. Okay? So this is all the things. इसमें से ये दो चीजें शायद नहीं हो आपके लिए. Other than that, maybe some of you PUR, this report is new. Okay, so that is there. So keep this in mind, or draw it like I've drawn it here. Other facts, okay, the last related facts that are there here, okay, and this with this we'll end the class here, is this global forest resource assessment is by FAO. We know India is top 10, okay, in terms of forest area, but third in the level of highest annual net gain. भी बहुत बार क्या होता है when you read ISFR you only know India related facts, global भी कुछ चीजें mentioned हैं. So one, we've already seen this. Second, PUR biennial update report of India, LUCF sector, जिसमें forest land है, okay, it can offset 15% of CO2. So main thing याद रखेंगे, here it talks about how greenhouse gas emissions, carbon sequestration can happen. So remember this report. And last also is FSI implements National Forest Inventory. This is again related to growing stock. The Forest Survey of India even does that. We've already seen the forest fire alert system. Okay. So everything we wanted to know about this report is what we have seen. Okay. I think this is from the previous class. Okay. So here, I hope you've been able to follow. This is a very detailed analysis on the Indian State of Forest report. Any fact that can be asked from the report, I've tried to cover it. We've also done the concepts, international conventions, all the initiatives, jo kuch bhi mentioned hai, trend wise is done. Okay. So we've spent almost 90 minutes discussing this particular, let's say, part. This happens to be or relates to be, you can expect one or two questions even from this particular part. Okay. And again, you know, for the next 2 years, yahi report rahegi. तो एक बार just once make good notes out of this. अच्छे से notes बनाओ अपने 2-3 pages, whatever you are doing. Only the keywords now, because again there's a lot of English in the report. You have to distill it down to certain facts, concepts, and then whatever related things are there, I've tried to cover. Okay, so I hope you get a very holistic coverage. LUCF, I've already told you, land use change, and forestry. It's again a sector amongst many sectors. Okay. How many of you made notes alongside the class? And second, those of you, again, who or be doubt, let's say you've not been able to ask, after the session ends also, again, drop a comment. So that will also help. Just this whole effort, 2-3 or pages will solve this entire topic. Okay, so again, for the students of Prelims Crash Course, I already told you I will do this separately. Why? The reason is this, I wanted to do this in detail. So every sector, everything, what is leading, what is lagging, which tree, what is there in the news, everything we've tried to cover it in one place. ठीक है, अच्छा, गुड कुंदन, you've made notes, तो बहुत अच्छा है. Notes को एक बार अच्छे से रिवाइज करिएगा. अगली बार, if you want to know, now you can watch the lecture at 2x, because this is one lecture you need to see it at least 2 times to absorb everything. Because in many times, what you can see, I could have directly just bombarded it with you with these facts. See? But then you would have missed the broader picture. कि क्या है national forest policy, what is our goal, what are we targeting, bond challenge, NDCs, everything has to be put in context. Okay, Good. See, green inventory, again, you will understand. The more with carbon stock linked green inventory, green is the more forests you have. Your green inventory will reduce because of deforestation. The more forest we plant, that is more green inventory. Okay? So thank you so much. I think, okay. Now, other subjects, HIT will also go on. Again, we have more topics planned in the HYT in the coming series. Okay. So keep following the series. Okay. Species in Use Part 2, again, TOP 29 and some of the very high yielding topics we'll also be doing. Okay. So for that, you can keep a track on the schedule. So from tomorrow, maybe some of the subject may start, but again, we'll be covering all these important areas. Till now, we've done three. These three and others, let's say HYTs, you should do very well. Okay. All right then, thank you so much. If there's anything you wanted to know, कुछ भी ऐसी चीज है comment section में लिख दीजिएगा. Because again, this is again one video for any other competitive exam, UPSC exam जो भी है. You will keep on what you can make one very good notes. आपके सारे questions निकलेंगे इसमें, ठीक है? So that is all we wanted to say. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.